A man wakes up with no memory, no past, only scars and violence waiting for him. Hunted by ruthless killers, his instincts take over. Every punch, every strike feels deadly and precise. As fragments of his past return, one truth becomes clear: he was never an ordinary man. This is not just a fight for survival, it's a brutal journey to uncover who he really is. Get ready for non-stop action, bone-crushing combat, and a mystery written in blood. Let's dive into the savage world of Headshot.
The movie opens inside a prison in Indonesia. A police officer arrives with several guards to confront a notorious terrorist who is being held there. The officer throws a bundle of photographs into the prisoner's cell, pictures of innocent children, and says, "Look carefully at these faces. You destroyed the lives of these innocent children. I sacrificed everything to capture you, and until you are executed, I will never rest." What the officer does not realize is that the prisoner has already arranged his escape long before this confrontation. A short while later, a staff member enters the prison under the pretense of cleaning. Suddenly, he attacks the guards. A brutal fight breaks out between him and the police officer. Taking advantage of the chaos, the dangerous criminal escapes from his cell. His name is Lee, the main villain of the movie, also known as the Chinese Master. As soon as he steps out, Lee kills the police officer with his own hands. Although all the guards inside the prison are dead, many armed guards are still stationed outside. Lee quickly comes up with a plan. He releases several prisoners from their cells, hands them guns, and tells them that if they eliminate the guards outside, they will earn their freedom. The prisoners engage in a violent gunfight with the guards. In the crossfire, many guards and inmates are killed. With no obstacles left, Lee finally escapes the prison. Meanwhile, a fisherman is shown discovering an unconscious man lying near the seashore. Realizing that the man has been washed ashore by ocean currents, the fisherman brings him to the hospital. 2 months later, we meet Dr. Ali, a doctor working at that hospital. He looks deeply concerned because for the past 2 months, one of his patients has remained in a coma. As part of his daily routine, Ali visits the patient again and notices severe injuries on his body. He quietly wonders who this man is and why someone would hurt him so badly. Since the patient's identity is unknown, Dr. Ali gives him a temporary name, Ismail. One day, Ismail finally regains consciousness. However, he cannot remember anything about his past. He is unable to tell Ali who he is, not even his own name. Seeing this, Ali tells him, "Until you remember your real name, I'll call you Ismail." In the following scenes, Ismail examines the scars on his body, desperately trying to recall his memories. Despite repeated attempts, nothing comes back. Days pass, but his memory remains blank. Hoping that the surroundings might help, Ali takes Ismail to the seashore. Even there, no memories resurface. Ali then introduces Ismail to the fisherman, the man who saved his life. Ismail thanks him sincerely for rescuing him and taking him to the hospital. Elsewhere, Lee is seen negotiating with local gangsters on the island. However, their leader is furious with him. The reason? Lee has been supplying them with fake guns and counterfeit drugs, and the gang leader is not willing to let this betrayal slide. Furious, the gang leader shouts, "I'm done doing business with you. Look around, I didn't come alone. I brought plenty of men to finish your game today." What the leader does not realize is that Lee had already planned everything in advance. Outside the warehouse, Lee's men are already positioned. They suddenly attack the local gang members and begin killing them one by one. Inside the warehouse, Lee's trusted female assassin, Shiva, engages in brutal hand-to-hand combat with the remaining thugs. The gang leader had assumed that Lee, with only 4 or 5 people, could never defeat his large force, but he quickly learns the truth. Lee's men are highly trained professionals. Each one of them fights like several men combined, making the gang's numbers meaningless. In the end, Lee personally kills the gang leader. Seeing this, the leader's right-hand man, Nova, becomes terrified. Desperate to save his life, he begs Lee for mercy. To prove his usefulness, Nova reveals a secret. About 2 months ago, a fisherman rescued a man from the sea. No one here has been able to identify him. I believe that man might be connected to your gang. Hearing this, Lee grows tense. From his reaction, it becomes clear that Ismail and Lee share some kind of hidden connection. Although Lee spares Nova's life, he shoots him through the ear as a warning and says, "If you want to stay alive, go to the hospital immediately and find that man." Nova rushes to the hospital and begins intimidating the staff, venting all his anger on them. The entire entire hospital descends into chaos. Hearing the noise, Dr. Ali arrives and manages to calm the situation. Ali brings Nova into his office to treat his injury. While being treated, Nova asks Ali about Ismail. Ali refuses to answer. He believes Ismail is just an ordinary man and does not want him to be harmed. However, Nova senses that Ali is hiding something. He begins threatening Ali to force the truth out of him. At that moment, Ismail enters and pulls Nova away from Ali. Even though Ismail has lost his memories, his combat instincts remain intact. The moment he senses danger, his old fighting skills resurface. Seeing Ismail's ability, Nova realizes he cannot defeat him and quickly retreats. Ali is left stunned. He now understands that Ismail is not an ordinary man. As they leave, Ali warns Ismail, "This place is no longer safe for you. Tomorrow come with me to Jakarta." Ismail refuses. He says, "If I want to regain my memories, I must stay here. The people responsible for my condition are here, and I will find them." Ali tries to convince him again, but Ismail agrees only to go to Jakarta with Ali after a few days. By now, Ismail has begun to trust and care for Ali. Whenever Ismail attempts to remember his past, visions of suffering children appear before him, their faces haunted, their condition horrific. After witnessing all of this, Ismail becomes even more desperate to uncover the truth behind his past. The next day, Ali is scheduled to leave for Jakarta. Ismail goes with him to the bus station to see him off. However, from a distance, Lee has already sent several gang members to keep Ismail under surveillance. Suddenly, another vehicle stops directly in front of the gang's car, blocking their view. Because of this, they lose sight of Ismail and Ali. The gang members assume that both of them have boarded the bus and are heading toward Jakarta. When the bus reaches a deserted area some distance away, Lee's men block the road and force the bus to stop. These men are ruthless. They immediately shoot and kill the driver, then open fire on the passengers, murdering almost everyone on board. But Ismail is nowhere to be found. Amid the chaos, Ali manages to call Ismail and inform him of what has happened. Hearing this, Ismail immediately rushes out, accompanied by the fisherman who once saved him. Meanwhile, the gang members hold Ali at gunpoint and interrogate him about Ismail. They ask repeatedly where Abid is, revealing that Ismail's real name is Abid. These men have come specifically to find him. When Ali refuses to cooperate, they abduct him along with a small child and take them to Lee's secret hideout. Ismail arrives at the scene but finds no sign of Ali. At that moment, several local thugs sent by Lee attack him from inside the bus. Ismail fights back and kills them all. Tragically, during the chaos, the fisherman's uncle is killed. As Ismail attempts to leave the area, the police arrive and arrest him. Elsewhere, Lee's men bring Ali and the kidnapped child to their secret den and lock them inside a room. With this task completed, Nova's role comes to an end. However, he begins bragging excessively about his involvement. Irritated, Lee's men shoot Nova dead and leave Ali and the child locked inside. At the police station, Ismail is interrogated. Despite explaining everything, the officers refuse to believe him. They cannot accept that he has lost all his memories. Ismail says, "I don't even know who killed those people on the bus, but they kidnapped my friend Ali. Instead of interrogating me, you should be helping me." The officer then shows him a photograph of Lee and asks, "Where can we find this man?" Because Ismail has no memory of his past, he fails to recognize Lee. The officer then begins describing Lee's crimes. "I've seen many criminals in my career, but I've never seen anyone as cruel as Lee. There is no evil he hasn't committed. His worst crime is abducting children and training them to become killing machines. He raised them so brutally that they would kill anyone without hesitation at his command. Those children are grown now, and they are monsters he created." Ismail responds, confused, "Why are you telling me all this? What does any of it have to do with me?" The officer then shows another photograph, one where Ismail is sitting right beside Lee. This proves that Ismail was once a member of Lee's gang. That is why the police have been interrogating him instead of helping him. Suddenly, the police station loses power. Gunshots erupt outside. Lee's men have arrived here as well. Within moments, the gang members slaughter the police officers. To capture Ismail, Lee sends his two most trusted killers, Raga and Billers, the same men responsible for the massacre on the bus. A brutal fight breaks out between Ismail and the two men. Ismail doesn't understand why they are chasing him, but as he fights, fragments of his past return. He realizes that Raga and Billis were once his closest friends. But to them, Lee's orders matter more than anything else, even more than friendship. They have come to kill him on Lee's command. A savage battle follows. In the end, Ismail manages to kill them both. As he prepares to leave, he hears a phone ringing in one of the dead men's pockets. He answers the call and hears Lee's voice. Ismail says calmly, "I don't need to search for you anymore. I'm coming to you myself." From Ismail's voice, Lee understands that Raga and Bilas are dead. Ismail heads toward Lee's secret hideout. Walking through a forest path, he comes across an old well. Seeing it triggers horrific memories from his childhood. Years ago, Lee had kidnapped Ismail along with several other children and imprisoned them inside this very well. He deprived them of food and water for days. The children were forced to fight each other for survival. Only the strongest survivor was selected for Lee's elite team and subjected to merciless training. Lee filled these children with fear from a young age, fear so deep that it turned them into cold, merciless killers. This is how Lee created his most dangerous soldiers. At that moment, Ismail comes face to face with one of his old friends. They once shared a deep bond, which is why Ismail does not want to fight him. Ismail says calmly, "My enemy is only Lee. Stay out of this." But his friend follows Lee's orders and attacks him anyway. A brutal fight breaks out between them. Just like Ismail, his friend is also a highly skilled fighter, and because of that, Ismail is badly injured during the fight. Still, in the end, Ismail manages to defeat him. The death of his friend leaves Ismail heartbroken. He leaves the body behind and moves forward toward Lee's secret chamber. On the way, Shiva, Lee's deadly female assassin, suddenly appears before him. A fierce fight begins between the two. After a long and exhausting battle, Ismail finally overpowers Shiva. However, he does not want to kill her. He tells her, "Lee is the real devil. He turned all our lives into hell. You should leave this gang and stand against him just like I did." At this moment, it becomes clear that Ismail and Shiva once loved each other. But everything changed when Ismail turned against Lee. On Lee's orders, Shiva herself had shot Ismail, landing a headshot that erased all of his memories. Even though Shiva still loves Ismail, Lee is like a father figure to her, just as he is to the other members. That is why she is willing to do anything to obey his commands. Ismail begs her to stop, but Shiva refuses. The fight reaches a critical moment. Shiva has a gun, while Ismail holds a knife. Shiva deliberately fires shots away from him. Confused, Ismail throws the knife and it strikes Shiva in the stomach. It becomes clear that Shiva never truly intended to kill Ismail. Perhaps she had been carrying the guilt of shooting him all this time, and today she chose not to fire back, almost as if she wanted to die by his hands. Meanwhile, Lee realizes that Ismail has eliminated all of his trained elite fighters. Only a few hired thugs remain in his hideout. Inside another room, one of those hired men tries to assault Ali. At that moment, the small child strikes the man on the head. Ali grabs the gun and kills him. She escapes the room and shoots 3 or 4 more gang members. However, 2 more attackers arrive and begin firing non-stop. Ali runs out of ammunition and gets trapped once again. Just then, Ismail arrives and kills the remaining gunmen, saving Ali. Despite being rescued, Ali begins to feel afraid of Ismail. Seeing the knife in his hand, she tells him to stay away. Lee had already told her everything about Ismail's past, and now she is terrified of what he used to be. Ismail tells her, "I never chose my old life. I came here only to save you. You gave me a new life." Hearing this, Ali calms down. She hugs Ismail tightly and breaks down in tears. At that moment, Lee finally appears and attacks Ismail. Exhausted from non-stop fighting, Ismail struggles at first. Still, he refuses to give up. As they fight, they argue fiercely. Lee shouts, "You betrayed my trust. Raising you was the biggest mistake of my life. You're nothing but a madman, someone who destroyed the lives of hundreds of children. You could never be a father. No real father turns children into killers. You turned them into wild animals." Hearing this, Ismail attacks Lee with even greater fury. Seeing no escape, Lee tries to run, but Ismail chases him outside and the fight continues. At one point, Ismail throws Lee against a tree and a sharp branch pierces straight through Lee's body. Even then, Lee desperately tries to take Ismail down with him, pulling him toward the same branch so it will impale Ismail as well. Just in time, Ali rushes in and pulls Ismail away, saving him by seconds. However, due to his injuries, Ismail collapses and loses consciousness. Days later, Ali has fully recovered and is now in a hospital in Jakarta. In another room, Ismail lies unconscious, still undergoing treatment. Finally, Ismail wakes up. He opens his eyes and tries to speak to Ali using gestures. Ali smiles through tears, and with this quiet, emotional moment, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending time here. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more every week. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload.